Hey everybody, it's PDubs, and guess what? Tomorrow we're heading out to the Chicago Pinball Expo, and I thought that this would be a fun video to make. There's going to be tons of vendors and exhibitors there, but what are the top 5 things that I'm looking forward to most seeing at Chicago Pinball Expo, as well as some honorable mentions? Okay, guys, we are back. This is the first time I've ever attended Chicago Pinball Expo. I've been to plenty of different arcade and gaming expos in the past, but first time going to the actual Chicago Pinball Expo, so I'm very, very excited. Coming in at number 5 for me would actually have to be New Wave Toys. New Wave Toys is going to be there. I'm a big fan of New Wave Toys products. I've covered them a bunch on the channel. Love Shiloh, the CEO, and sure enough, they're going to be there at the expo, and we're assuming at the expo they're going to be showing off their Black Hole X Arcade mini pin. Now, at the time of announcement and pre-orders, and I did pre-order, and that's right, I did pre-order, and I pre-ordered and I paid out of my own pocket for my own unit. When it comes to this Black Hole machine, it's basically just a shelf decoration only. It lights up, it makes the sounds, the back glass spins, and it has the voices of the robot voice from the game and all that stuff, but it's not actually playable, right? It's not actually playable. It's more of a decoration, a 1/6 scale shelf decoration for your arcade and game room. Again, it's only 11 inches tall, 9 inches wide, 5 inches high. The question is will New Wave Toys surprise us and bring anything new and different to the show that we haven't seen yet? Maybe another version of these mini pins or things like that. I'm super excited to see what they're bringing. I'm not expecting them to bring anything else besides, their current lineup of mini Replicades, arcade machines, their mini Zoltar machine. Hopefully they'll have the skee ball there and an update on their mini skee ball. I'm not expecting them to bring a new pinball machine, but considering I shelled out and I pre-ordered for this Black Hole machine, I definitely am looking forward to seeing it in person and wondering what I spent my money on, and am I going to be happy when I see it? Okay, guys, next up for me, coming in at number 4, is actually going to be the Jersey Jack Avatar pinball machine. Now, one thing I can say is I have a feeling that the light show and the gameplay experience might be really, really cool to experience firsthand. This game's been out for just a short while. It's on location at places. Other people have been able to play it and check this thing out. Unfortunately, I have not myself. I haven't had a chance to go to a local pinball arcade and play this thing on location yet and experience it. What we do know when it comes to Jersey Jack is, at least in my opinion, the machines that I have played at expos and at arcade bars, is it truly is kind of an experience. I'm sure the music and the light show and the gameplay and the big screen and the back glass with all the movie clips, I'm sure all of that is going to be super fun, super enjoyable to check out. Is this a pinball theme that I myself would spend 5 figures on? Unfortunately, not for me, no, because I like the Avatar movie franchise. I've enjoyed both movies, but not enough to own a pinball machine based upon that IP. But I'm definitely eager to actually stand in line and get up there and take my turn and actually give it a few runs and check this machine out. And okay, guys, coming in at number 3 for me would actually be Stern's X-Men Uncanny X-Men Pinball. Now, when this thing first got announced and I saw the Sentinel head on the table and I saw it's Uncanny X-Men, but the artwork at that time period is very similar to the classic late 90s X-Men 97 artwork that we all know and love and adore from our childhood, Saturday morning cartoons, comic books, etc. I was the most hyped for this particular pinball machine this year. I thought this was the coolest new release announced. I do own my wonderful Venom pinball machine downstairs. I really, really like my Venom pinball machine, even though a lot of other people don't like it. I think it's a really cool pinball machine, and if I was to collect more Marvel-themed pinball machines, I know on my short list would be Deadpool and probably this Uncanny X-Men. Now, the limited editions are out there in the wild. Some locations have them. People who pre-ordered them have had them in their homes. There have been a lot of coverage of this. It's been interesting and fun to see the gameplay and code developed for this machine and all that stuff. But again, just like Avatar, I haven't had a chance to touch it and play it in person yet. So I'm very much looking forward to playing this in person and seeing if it's as cool as all the hype says it is. Coming in at number 2 for me of things I'm most interested in checking out at Chicago Pinball Expo would actually be Wonderland Amusements. Now, a lot of big pinheads out there might not have even heard about this yet. News just started breaking in the last week about them being there. This is a brand new pinball company that's promising to make pinball for everyone. So we're talking about smaller, potentially 3/4 scale type real mechanical pinball machines, supposedly with a price tag around $1,000, which I wasn't aware of, but that worries me, but also excites me for people who really can't afford the big pinball machines. This is a company that was started by Peter Gold, who used to work at New Wave Toys. He founded New Wave Toys with Shiloh, as well as Jerry Cummings, who works for ThinkUp, which they were the ones who helped create the Arcade 1-Up products. So you got a bunch of guys, this whole lineup of individuals who have experience in building, manufacturing, licensing, and selling smaller form factor arcade machines. And it sounds to me like they're going to be releasing a smaller form factor, real mechanical pinball, potentially what you might call a mini home edition pinball for people out there to check out. And we did verify, if you sign up for their email list, what's interesting is you get a welcome email if you sign up for the email list on their website to follow along for more information, and it confirms that their very first machine is going to be inspired by Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So we're going to have multiple Alice in Wonderland pinball machines to look at Pinball Expo, including the big machine from Dutch Pinball. Now, again, this is something that could absolutely suck, or it's something that could be really, really cool depending on what it is. It's interesting, it's curious, and that's why I definitely plan on walking by, checking out their booth. They even invited me to come talk to Peter, have a quick interview while I'm there, and learn more about this product. So it's interesting, right? Like, what could it be? It's something that could completely suck, or it could be kind of cool for those who are on a tighter budget. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about what they got going on at Pinball Expo. Now, before we get to the number one thing I'm most looking forward to seeing and experiencing at Chicago Pinball Expo, we have some honorable mentions. First off would be, just announced earlier today before I recorded this video, Stern is doing a Metallica remake pinball machine, and this pinball machine should presumably be at Chicago Pinball Expo for us all to check out. So, although I'm not a big fan personally of band-themed pinball games, I'm definitely a fan of Metallica, and I look forward to checking it out. We all, back in the 90s, guys, we were rocking out to the Black Album, Master of Puppets, all that stuff. We were having a blast listening to Metallica music, so looking forward to checking out this actual pinball machine and seeing what it is. Is it something that I would be looking to buy? Probably not, but look forward to checking it out. Also, another thing is there's going to be companies there that aren't really doing pinball, but they're bringing their wares, and Retrocade Multicades is going to be there. This is a company that I've been keeping an eye on over the last few months. It's an interesting multicade maker, kind of reminds me of some of the other ones out there in the market, such as Rec Room Masters, Game Room Solutions, all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to meeting those guys and checking out their Retrocade Multicades. As you guys know, I host a podcast show called Multicade Mondays. I love me my multicades, and I look forward to meeting those guys and seeing what they bring to the show. A couple other honorable mentions, of course, are American Pinball as well as Chicago Gaming Company are going to be there, so I look forward to swinging by their booths. I haven't heard any rumors of them bringing any new releases or surprises to the show, but I'll definitely stop by, swing by, and obviously take a look at what they have. Super excited actually to see Turner Pinball's going to be there. I actually interviewed Chris Turner regarding his Ninja Eclipse pinball machine, and he was a super nice guy, and I really enjoyed that interview with him and his team, and talking about his this passion project. And they've taken their pre-orders and they're building their machines, and looks like they're going to start shipping machines soon to folks. So as always, like seeing these new pinball companies come in, and hopefully they're successful, right? And of course, any homebrew pinball machine would get an honorable mention as well. I'm hoping to see some really cool creative ideas from people out there in that pinball community who come up with these homebrew, one-of-a-kind type pinball machines. Okay, and the number one thing that I personally, and this is all opinion, am most excited to see at Chicago Pinball Expo would have to be the Dutch Pinball Alice Adventures in Wonderland. I personally love fantasy-themed pinball. Love having my Labyrinth pinball downstairs. Probably one of the coolest things I own in my home. And fantasy themes really appeal to me, and they also appeal to my wife. We're big fantasy nerds when it comes to classic pop movies and things like that. So myself, I personally thought that this looked pretty cool. I made a video about it, linked below. That video did pretty well. It just came out a couple days ago, talking about, yeah, the call outs are kind of bad. The trailer wasn't that great. But the pinball machine itself, with real sculptures on it, just like my Labyrinth pinball machine versus, flat pieces of plastic toys, it really, that appeals to me. That's why we bought a Labyrinth. So I'm very eager to check this out in person. Now, what's interesting is they did pre-orders, and I guess the pre-orders are sold out, but some people are actually selling their pre-order spots. You never know. I mean, if I really like what I see, you might see me, pick one up. Shout out to Carrie Hardy for this live stream here, where we got to see some gameplay. I didn't think the gameplay looked that bad. Obviously, it's got the plastic ramps. It's got a pretty big top level that takes up a big chunk of the playfield. But honestly, I didn't mind it. Reminds me a lot of kind of like what 90s pinball. And you guys know me, I'm a big fan of like 90s pinball had. Sculptures, toys, plastic ramps, things like that excite me. The big controversy, of course, is the artwork. Some people think it's too sexual in nature. I myself love boobies on the back glass, so I'm technically all for it when it comes to the artwork on this machine. I find nothing wrong with it. That was all covered in the video. But personally, I think this is the most coolest pinball machine so far announced, and it's my number one thing for the biggest thing I'm looking forward to seeing at the Pinball Expo. But that's my top 5 plus some honorable mentions. What are yours? Are you going to Pinball Expo, or are you going to be following the content online? And what are you most looking forward to see and seeing in either in person or more coverage on, especially here on YouTube? Let me know in the comments section after this video is over. Give me your feedback, reactions, and all that stuff below. Give us a thumbs up on the way out. And as always, my dudes, thank you for subscribing.